Hi everyone, Dr. Suneel Dhand, medical doctor. Welcome to another video. I want to talk in this video about some remarkable weight loss that President Trump appears to have had. Take a look at this video here. Well, I think the first thing to say is that in that video, President Trump looks remarkably good. I mean, he's almost 80 years old. How many 80-year-olds look like that? As a doctor who regularly works in the hospital, it's quite rare to see an 80-year-old who is looking and walking that vigorously. But of course, the question is, how did President Trump achieve that weight loss? And are there any tips for anyone else? I will say, look at previous photos of President Trump taken from not so long ago. Take a look at these here. And look at the difference compared to what you just saw in that video. Remarkable, absolutely amazing. And those of you who follow me know that I will say that I really hope that President Trump achieved this in the best possible way, which is naturally and healthily. I'm not a fan by any stretch of the imagination of the modern day mass prescribing of weight loss injections like semaglutide. I do think that this is going to backfire on the population. I mean, I suppose it's one thing if they are prescribed for conditions like type 2 diabetes, but when has it ever been a good idea to mass prescribe what is basically a hormone-like substance to hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people? And we're already seeing reports about side effects and other issues. I mean, of course, this injection or these types of injections do work because they basically paralyze the stomach and stop people from eating, but there are natural ways to do this and get away from the toxic food environment that is making so many people gain weight and get very sick indeed. But anyway, I go off on a tangent there. I've made videos about my concerns about weight loss injections before, and I'll include a link down below. But let's stick with this point. President Trump, firstly, congratulations on achieving this fantastic weight loss and looking so good for your age, so vigorous. We know you do a very high-stress job. You've got a lot going on. But I would like to know, as a doctor whose area of interest is metabolic health, you have obviously got yourself into a position where your metabolic health has also improved, I am sure. Many biomarkers improve when anybody loses weight. So, are there any tips or advice that anybody else, no matter what their age, can take on from what President Trump has done and exactly what has gone on? So, I went online and I looked up some articles. We know that President Trump is quite close to RFK Jr., who is all about a healthy, real food diet, avoiding toxic, ultra-processed foods, and also being as active as possible. But what exactly has President Trump done? Take a look at these articles that I found. Well, here's one. Sean Hannity, who of course is reasonably close to President Trump, reveals the secret of how President Trump lost 30 pounds. And here we have a few paragraphs here. We know that President Trump is famously a fan of fast food, especially McDonald's. They talk about RFK Jr. saying that Trump has lost 30 pounds. And Hannity himself, by the way, for the viewers not in the United States, Sean Hannity is a cable TV pundit. He's been on Fox News for some time. Hannity said Trump looks great and claimed the secret to his weight loss was taking the buns off his burgers. Here's a previous photo of President Trump looking very different. Kennedy claimed he was unaware that Trump was deliberately making efforts to change his diet. We did talk about it. I hope I'm not revealing something I shouldn't, Hannity confirmed. They say that President Trump said in January that he had lost 20 pounds. I've been so busy, I haven't been able to eat very much. I'm not able to sit down and eat like a person like you. They talk about his love for fast food and Diet Coke. Well, we all know that. That has been documented that President Trump has a button to get Diet Coke. Now, diet sodas are an interesting discussion because ideally you would want to avoid any sodas. But in my mind, even though diet sodas are not perfect, at least they are a lot better than pummeling one's body with all of the sugar, like in a regular Coca-Cola or another soda, which will contain several spoons, sometimes even more, of sugar. At least with the diet sodas, you're avoiding that sugar load. And I did find that original statement very interesting, where they talked about President Trump cutting back on the bun. So if he had a burger, he would only have the burger or salad or whatever else it came with. We know, according to statistics, that most Americans, indeed most Western countries now, people eat way too many carbohydrates. And we knew this a few decades ago, before the world went completely insane, that pummeling one's body with carbohydrates is not a good idea. They are more calorie dense. And as a general rule, most people out there who want to lose weight, one of the first things that often works to help them achieve their weight loss goals is simply cutting back on the carbs. Aside from that, most modern day breads, buns, whatever we're talking about, but especially if it's a fast food restaurant, are loaded with other substances. I mean, ideally, bread should only contain about 4 ingredients. That is not the case anymore. We have completely adulterated bread. I've made videos about this previously. And as a rule, if you want to get healthier, and of course you can never paint a broad brush, but I would say for most people out there these days, cutting back on carbohydrates is a great idea. Start with cutting back on the amount of bread you eat if you want to lose weight. Okay, let's move on to the next article here that I found. Trump diet revealed as slimmed down president drops 30 pounds with simple meal tweak, but still gets to enjoy his favorite treat. That's interesting, and they say that his wife, First Lady Melania Trump, had something to do with this. So here we go. The Don revealed his one genius trick he used to lose 30 pounds of fat while still chowing down on fast food favorites. I'm not sure I would agree with that. Always best to cut back on fast food. Most of it is complete trash. But anyway, let's read about what they describe as President Trump's shocking weight loss secret. They have some more pictures over here of the president and his weight loss. And there we go, they say it again. If he has a burger now, he usually doesn't have it with a bun. And I found other articles as well, which are basically saying the same thing. Here's another one in the Daily Mail that talks about President Trump's weight loss, and you can see pictures here next to each other. They talk about the president's habits, where he enjoys other junk foods like Oreos, drinking a lot of Diet Coke every day. I would certainly advise him to still cut back on that. They talk about other things here that President Trump, and this is well known, he is a teetotaler. He doesn't drink alcohol, hasn't for a long time. That is also a fantastic point out there, and one that I often will recommend to people if they want to lose weight. Make sure you also cut back on alcohol. It's not all about how much food you eat. And they talk here again at the bottom about his love for McDonald's and also KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and pizza. So there we are. Most of those articles I found online were touching upon the fact that President Trump has drastically cut back on carbohydrates. And of course, we know that he's also very active. Stress alone might help with weight loss. That's not the best way to achieve weight loss, but he's also fairly active. He walks a lot, and we know he plays golf, which is moderate intensity physical activity. Still appears to eat a lot of fast food, but that weight loss that he has achieved is very impressive. If we're talking about more than 20 or 30 pounds, that is not easy to do. So according to the articles there, it appears that President Trump has really focused on cutting back on the carbohydrates, and with everything else that goes with his job, that is what currently they are putting down his weight loss to. Now, with regards, and I'm sure there's some people out there who think that, oh, he may have been taking weight loss injections. One would presume that when his medical records are released, and if that was the case, then they would mention any additional medications that he would be taking. At least that's what is supposed to happen. But I hope that he has achieved this naturally through the means that we just talked about, just being more mindful with eating. And in terms of tips for anyone else out there, I would stick with the main one in those articles, that a lot of people out there can simply achieve significant weight loss by being more mindful of everything that is on their plate and doing simple things like focusing on cutting back on carbohydrates, optimizing protein, and also staying as active as possible. So let's look at that video again that I shared at the beginning of President Trump clearly looking much slimmer than he did a few years ago. Here it is again. So as a doctor who specializes in metabolic health, I would say again, congratulations, President Trump. This is not an easy achievement, especially as one gets older. Weight loss becomes more difficult. Everybody knows that. And I'm sure if his metabolic markers were measured, whether it's blood pressure, whether it's cholesterol, all of those usually show a big improvement as anybody loses weight. And all of these things become more important with each passing year. It is not a good idea to be carrying around excess weight, particularly above a certain age. It starts to affect the body more and more. Thanks everyone for watching. Do let me know your thoughts down below on how President Trump achieved his weight loss. Do check the links in the description down below for our natural supplement store. If you're in the USA, North America, ohighwellness.com. If you're in the UK or Europe, ohighwellness.co. Also in the links down below, my free newsletter and all the other work I do. Hit the like button if you like this video and the subscribe button for more similar videos in the future, and we will speak again next time.